was a featured storyteller. I'm going to welcome to the stage another featured storyteller. Mr. Monk, please come up if you are so ready. Mr. Monk,
Okay. Everybody, my name is Monk. My story is about doing something childish when I wasn't that young, and looking back on it and basically realizing I was a dick. So a couple of years ago, I worked as a financial advisor. So for people who don't know what that is, those are people who basically help other people get their personal finances in order. So they help you invest, they help you plan for retirement, and in some cases they help you budget. This is essentially a job that no one wants. So I spent all my days cold calling people and trying to convince them to meet me at their home or their job so that I can discuss retirement planning and or life insurance. These were dark, dark days. But in the 2 years that I did that job, I somehow convinced a pretty sizable amount of people to listen to a 25-year-old tell them what they should do with their money. And somehow I was so good at it, my company basically would assign me rookie advisors so that I can accompany them on their sales meetings with family and friends and with the occasional business exec. So my young self would tell someone younger than me how to speak to a middle-aged vice president about why they should get his or her life in order. So looking back on it now, it was as ridiculous as it sounds. But I did it, and I was pretty good. And I bring all that up because I remember one meeting that sticks in my mind to this day. And that meeting was at the AT&T office building. We were meeting with the head of such and such, some really important person who had an office on a high floor. And I was teamed up with this kid fresh out of college who I barely knew because he had been at the company for maybe a month at this point. So I get in my old beat up car with my favorite poorly fitting suit on. I meet him in the parking lot. I tell him everything's gonna be great, just follow my lead, and we go inside the building. Then when we get to the lobby and we get to the security guard who's supposed to check us in so that we can go upstairs, my heart dropped. Because in this thick Nigerian accent, the security says, "Freke, look at you." So of course my coworker is looking at me, smiling, confused, and I'm stunned because the security guard in his security uniform gets up and it's my dad. And he jokingly sticks his hand out to shake my hand. Now, my dad has had 2 jobs for as long as I can remember. And one of his jobs, his second job, is basically doing security at office buildings in New Jersey. And I knew that. What I didn't know was that this particular day, he was off from his main job and he decided that he would spend his random Wednesday afternoon protecting the fine folk of AT&T. So we got there and there he was, basically introducing himself, and it was my first time ever seeing my dad at his job. And instead of feeling an overwhelming feeling of happiness, I felt complete embarrassment. And my dad is smiling from ear to ear. Here's his son dressed up, going to some important meeting. Here's his son who has never seen him at work before. So this is like take your son to work day, 25 years in the making. And he could not be happier. And inside I'm cringing. And I just wish I wasn't there. And on the outside I'm pretending to smile, and I introduce my coworker, and we end up going upstairs, and I don't think my dad notices that I felt that way. And I look back on that moment and I'm like so disgusted at how I felt at the time and how I treated him. I mean, I understand why it happened. You know, we're taught that life or success looks a very specific way, and that if what you're doing isn't prestigious enough or important enough, you should be ashamed of it, who you are, where you're from, if it doesn't hit a certain mark. And I never told my dad this story. He's a man of few words, and I feel like all the words that I've learned throughout my life would not be enough to explain. But it's funny looking at it now because I'm a dad myself, and I just kind of imagine how I would feel if I found out that I embarrassed my kids or I let them down. And it breaks my heart thinking about it, and I can't imagine if my dad knew about that in the moment. So now that I'm a little bit older, I realize that, you know, happiness and fulfillment is what's honorable. Taking care of the people that love you is what's honorable. Doing what you were put on this world to do, maximizing your gift in whatever way you possibly can, is what's honorable. And that's what we all should be striving for. That's what we all should kind of keep in mind, because the amount of people that are in this world that have a job, not because they need it, not because they want it, but because they can't imagine not having that title next to their name. And instead of us working to live, we end up spending our adulthood living to work. So fulfilling what we really should be doing is what we all should be striving for, because I think anything less is what's embarrassing. Thank you.
All right.
Yay, well done. Oh, okay. Well done, Mr. Monk. Thank you.